Hey there! Good morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time it is you're watching, and welcome to another Abyss review. As you can see, this is a webcam type of video, just like the Ayato beta review. That's because this is a quick one actually. There isn't that much crazy to go about, and the footage would have been like a few minutes. And yeah, like I just breezed through this abyss. This abyss, it's much better than the previous one, because this abyss isn't designed to just annoy you, because the previous one, especially floor 11 in the previous one, was seriously just made to annoy the player. There was no other like thing for that floor. It was just annoyance with freeze and overload, so congratulations. But yeah, this abyss is much better. There's kind of fun to be had, because, well, they put enemies into the abyss that Venti and Kazuha can CC finally. But yes, got some notes here, and again, this is a quick one. So I decided to do this webcam kind of thing. So again, if I look towards this side, that's because I have some notes in my other monitor. But let's get started. Again, much better than previously. Floor 9 and 10 are still the same as before. The leader for floor 10 and the electro, not barrier, like the force field for floor 9, they're pretty easy because the enemies are low level, low AR players and just weak players will have a bit of a rough time perhaps, but you can easily watch like the first video that I did for like, what was it, the 2.4 Abyss, that has some tips for floor 9 and 10. Let's go for floor 11 though, which is the one that changed. This time we have the buff that is a 75% anemo damage bonus. 75! That is massive! So yes, this is a Venti Abyss and Kazuha Abyss. I mean, all anemo Abyss, basically. I mean, Xiao. Xiao with a 75 anemo damage bonus. Ooh. Didn't test him, actually. Didn't use him, but I would expect you are hitting some massive plunges on that floor 11. But yeah, 75% anemo damage bonus. Venti's on the banners. Gotta, attract that. But the good thing is that anemo units in general are used because, they are general buffers. Viridescent is amazing. So this buff really caters to just a lot of teams. It's not like previously where it was healing bonus and electro damage. Like, I get it, like Yaemiko teams and Raiden teams would like it, and also Kokomi, of course, but like not a lot of people use these kind of teams with electro in it, or the electro is the support, like someone like Beta or Official. They are sub DPS, but they're not the main DPS. But this one with the anemo damage bonus, I mean, Venti, Kazuha, of course, and again Xiao, if you use them as a main DPS, they will just shred enemies, delete them. So yeah, have fun CCing enemies. With Venti, like, I was like, okay, gotta throw out the Venti ult. Okay, I got Child. Here's a ranged ultimate to apply Riptide, and they're dead. And I was like, wait a second. I didn't get to switch to Ayato. Wait a second. Yeah, like, it was nuts. So floor 11 is amazing. So let's start off taking them one by one. First chamber of floor 11 is a protect the monolith chamber, so you're not up against the time, you're up against the health of the monolith falling down. The first, in general, this monolith challenge isn't the hardest, but there's a fuck ton of enemies, so that doesn't make it the easiest one. Yeah, there's like a ton of enemies. The first one is like a bunch of treasure hoarders and like hillagers and the likes. And grouping abilities in this one are key to easily, of course, winning the, allowing the monolith to not be damaged. Again, Venti, Kazuha can easily work. Someone like Diluc with his Phoenix will nicely move all of the enemies into one of the sides so that you can clear them and also pull aggro. Some taunt skills like Mona, Ganyu, Ito, again, some taunt skills might help you a bit. If only Ayato still had that taunt. But yeah, like, grouping abilities will be key for the first chamber, because again, there's so many enemies that spawn kind of continuously, in waves. But again, there's like so many that AoE or grouping is key. Zhongli, of course, has a pretty big AoE with his Planet Befall that can easily help you. But yeah, unless you very, very easily like one-shot the enemies and can move around quickly, you're not like it may be a bit hard. Like Xiao is a perfect option because he can move around with his high jumps. The plunging attacks have massive AoE, and they can delete enemies with a 75 animal damage bonus. So Xiao will fit very well if you're having any troubles with this Abyss. Else, Sucrose can be fine. She has a bit of grouping ability. Like all Anemo again. John can be fine with grouping enemies a bit. Diluc, of course, Kazuha and Venti. You can't do much. It's the standard. It's, again, not the hardest monolith challenge. You can do it without an Anemo unit, for sure. It's just that you might need a few tries for, you know, like taking the aggro off the enemies. And yeah, that's it for the first chamber. Moving on to the second chamber. Both halves are pretty much the same. They just have different elements. You have two waves. First is an Abyss Mage with a few slimes. And then the second wave is a fat Fatui with some other Fatuis. It's mostly like big Fatuis. Pretty fine standard. Just bring, you know, the counters. I think the first half is Pyro Mages with some Pyro Slimes and Electro Slimes, while the second half is a Hydro Abyss Mage with Hydro Slimes and the Electro Slimes. So just bring the, you know, the counters, bring Hydro for the first one, and Electro, Cryo, Pyro, the classics for the second half, and you'll be good. It's nothing hard, you know. Like the two waves are fine. Again, like Slimes and Abyss Mages are easy to take care of, and low-level Fatuis are also easy. There are, of course, elemental auras, but they're not that annoying, actually. And then the third chamber, so, you know, the one that has the 420 nice time limit instead of the standard 360, that's 7 to 6 minutes. The third chamber, you have two waves again. The first wave on both halves is little dogs, so no big dogs, thankfully, but little dogs. They're pretty easy to kill because they're low level and they're the smaller variant instead of the big ones, which are tanky as fuck. And then the second wave of both halves is a Fatui. The first chamber has two Pyro Fatui agents, while the second half has Electrosystem Mages and one thick Mirror Maiden. They're pretty easy. Don't worry about the dogs. They're the small dogs, as I said. They die pretty quickly. So if you're running some sort of team that doesn't have a healer, like a Hutao team, which I also run, don't worry about not having a healer. Like, you're gonna kill these things pretty quickly. Just be a bit careful, but, you know, like, you're not gonna have massive problems. And then, you know, for the Fatuis, just bring the natural counters. Don't bring Pyro against the Pyro Fatuis, and don't bring Hydro and Electro against the Mirror Maiden and the Electrosystem Mages. I think, like, you know, physical is also pretty good against them because they have, like, negative physical resistance. So you're gonna be dealing a lot of damage for that. So yeah, that's floor 11. As you can see, it's pretty good. You know, yes, the first chamber can be a bit hard with the monolith protection, but the other chambers are just perfectly fine. Just some abyss mages and slimes and Fatuis, and then dogs and Fatuis. It's like, thank you for not making an annoying design. Like, who the heck thought of the previous Abyss? Who the heck thought, let me annoy the player? Like, what the fuck? Let's move on to floor 12. The big one, of course. The last one that is the big one. So, first chamber, the first half is just a bunch of treasure hoarders and Kairagis. There's a lot of them, and I seriously mean a lot of them. I think it's like two waves of treasure hoarders and Kairagis, but there's just, like, again, a lot of motherfuckers. So, yeah, grouping and AoE once again are essential here. It's floor 12, and Venti, Kazuha, Anemos, and the likes, as I said, Xiao, will be what you need to really win against the one, but there's actually something good. The second half of the first chamber of floor 12, that's a lot of numbers, is just 2 Ruin Guards. Just 2 Ruin Guards. So if you don't have an amazing clear time on the first half with the Kairagis and the treasure hoarders, you can feel fine because, well, you're most likely are gonna melt the Ruin Guards because they're just not tanky or anything. They do spawn on different, like, sides of the arena, but they just come together. If you just sit in the middle, they're just gonna walk towards you. Or if you walk towards one, yes, the other one might, will most likely throw his missiles, but he's gonna come sooner or later. And again, you're just gonna melt them if you have some good AoE and single target damage. And again, they're Ruin Guards, and they're not even on the final chamber, so they're not level 100. So yeah. So again, if you don't have a team that's amazing at clearing the first half, don't worry, because the second half is kind of a freebie. So like 20 seconds, half a minute to clear the second half. So don't worry, you can take your time finally with the first half, and you should. There's also these elemental stones, those that pulse. So be careful with causing reactions on yourself with someone like Bennett and the elemental stone causing overload, dealing damage, or these will infuse the enemies with the elements. So make sure to clear it off of them, because you're dealing half damage. So that's the first chamber. Pretty fine. Nothing stupid like the previous one, which was it was a bunch of big dogs and the Vishcaps, the abysmal Vishcaps that had like shit hitboxes and tons of health that just didn't go down. Like, they were so annoying. Like, fuck those guys. Second chamber. So the first half of the second chamber is 6 Whopper Flowers. They spawn in waves of 3, so 2 waves of 3 Whopper Flowers. They're Whopper Flowers. They like to group on their own because they burrow down and then come, up on your position. So grouping isn't necessarily needed here. But, they're Whopper Flowers, just like the Ruin Guards. They're a freebie mostly. Just be careful not to miss your attacks or skills and bursts when they burrow to the ground. That happens so much with me trying to hit a ranged child ultimate just to infuse them with Riptide. But yeah, it's a freebie because the second half is one of each of the Abyss guys. It's one Abyss Herald, Electro, one Abyss Herald, Abyss Lector, Electro, one Abyss Lector Pyro, and an Abyss Herald, which is Hydro. One of each, and they can be annoying. You need to bring good counters and a good team here. Cryo is the best because it counters all of them, especially, like Electro and the Hydro Abyss guys. Their best counters is Cryo. But you also need Hydro in order to kill off the Pyro guys. So yeah, tackling them one by one can be a bit hard. I think what you should do is bring them all down to their shields and then try to focus one of them while also, doing some chip damage to the other ones. So, like Hydro will also deal damage to the Electro Lector. So if you focus the Pyro Lector, your Hydro skills might also hit the Electro guy, even though your main focus is on the Pyro guy. Like, it's kind of complicated. They are kind of hard to kill. They are a bit of annoying. My Hu Tao team did finally, actually, just with Xingqiu and Hu Tao, plus Ito and Zhongli. But bringing in one Cryo character, like I brought Ayaka on my second try, she just deleted them with an ultimate. So yeah, be careful with that second half with those 3 Abyss dudes, but it's fine. Again, the Whopper Flowers are a freebie, so in half a minute, you're most likely gonna be done with those Whopper Flowers, so you can have plenty of time to, reduce down the shields of the Abyss dudes. And then the third chamber is, the first half is to Pyro Lectors, and the second half is to Abyss Heralds, to Hydro Heralds. So bring the necessary counters, Hydro for the first chamber, while Cryo, of course, is the best one for the second half. So yeah, those Hydro Heralds were kind of hard to beat without a Cryo. So as I said, I bought an Ayaka on a second run on my Hu Tao team. I broke my Geo-Resonance thing for Hu Tao, but just bringing in an Ayaka just to ult and kill those last 2 Hydro Heralds was actually a very good idea. It easily netted me 36 stars. So yeah, just one good Cryo unit like Ayaka or even Ganyu or anyone, will easily delete those Hydro Heralds. And for the Pyrolectors, again, Hydro is the best one. I brought in my Ayato team, Venti, Ayato, Child, believe it or not, and Bennett, and they just got deleted. Be careful though; those Pyro Heralds, Pyrolectors, goddamn those freaking names, they can deal a lot of damage. And for some, and like, they like to spam shit. They do not stop attacking with lots of homing and huge AoE attacks. I died a few times because of these motherfuckers, just non-stop firing abilities and attacks. I'm like, just stop. Like, you're being hit by a Venti ultimate, Child is destroying you, like, Ayato is hitting you, just stagger at least. Like, the Venti's ultimate, and most likely Kazuha, will bring them together and will not CC them continuously like it does with smaller enemies. But like, for fuck's sake, just at least stagger, like, cancel your attacks, like, move back as they do. But no, freaking huge explosions, like, all of their homing projectiles, like, it was very annoying. And they deal a lot of damage. So, again, be careful. The Hydro Heralds, you know, they can extend your cooldowns, but again, just a cryo unit will easily deal with them. And that's it. Floor 12 doesn't have a leyline disorder like it did with the previous one. Oh no, actually the previous one. The Honed Spirit thing that existed. There's no such thing. It's clear, nothing. And as for the buff that is now on the Abyss, it is like, if you ever played League of Legends, it's Zed's ultimate. If you deal normal attack damage to an enemy, they get marked, and after a certain period of time, they get dealt. And they get dealt true damage based on the amount of damage that you did after you put the mark on the enemy. So, you know, you hit them with an Ayato attack, and then, you know, you deal damage to them, and then, as I said, yeah. It's Zed's ultimate from League of Legends, I ain't gonna lie. As with the other Abyss reviews, I ain't gonna change up. I ain't gonna do another review when the buff changes, because it doesn't really change much. The monsters and other things in the floor are the main thing that change how hard or annoying the Abyss is. And for this one, it's fine. It's actually easy, I would say. There is a bit of strategy with the tons of heralds that they put, like tons of Abyss dudes, but it's actually freaking fine. If you need a good CC, Venti's on the banners. Highly suggested to pull for Venti. And that's it. So, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. And leave a comment if you have any comments about the Abyss. Maybe your experience, if you had any tough things or any suggestions. You know, if you're looking for people to suggest you what you can do with characters that you have down below. Well, Reddit can work, but also the comment section is of course open. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in another video. Venti and Ayato videos coming soon. Venti first, because we need to wait a bit for Ayato's team comps and such to be calculated. And yeah, see you all in another video. Goodbye.